Good afternoon, everybody. I always feel a little bit shy right at the very beginning of these broadcasts because all I'm looking at is myself and my StreamYard, and I know that I'm live. I know I'm going live. I know that as people are starting to scroll past and seeing the live button, that they'll stop on the video and say hello and want to talk to me. But maybe you're out shopping today. And maybe you'll come back and see this video later on when you're thinking about your book and promoting your book. And you go, that's exactly what I need to talk about today. Or what I need to be thinking about or working on today. So I'm really happy that you're here joining me. I had this brilliant idea earlier today that I'm going to start wearing all of the clothes in my closet for these live streams, since I really don't have any other place to wear my clothes in my closet. And I've gotten into a habit, at home at least, of wearing the same clothes all the time. So, but the important thing, I am here to talk to you today about your book and your book marketing, as always. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this light. Oh, here, this is the reason why. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this light to stick. Technical problems, eh? Soon I will be getting a new light. Of course, I'm going to have to make that decision for sure. Because it's while it may be entertaining, it's not so much fun. Now, stay. Will you stay? I don't think so. No. For sure not. Ooh. Let me try something else. Let's see. Try it this way. Gosh, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, goodness. This seems a little bit more. I don't know. Well, we'll see if I can get through the rest of this video. Thank God it's a short video before I have to find some sort of alternative. As I was saying, I love, some of the clothes in my closet that I haven't been able to wear in so many months, that I've just decided the only opportunity that I have to have some variety in what I'm wearing is for these videos. So I'm going to take advantage and enjoy the comfortable and stylish clothes that I like in my closet. So thank you for joining me here today. Today's video is about 3 ways to immediately improve your website and your landing page. Let me see now. Share screen. I can share screen. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to share screen or just talk to you though. Let me see. Okay, I do want you to know, if you're interested in having me audit your website, if you're watching this video today, hello, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching today and you would like me to audit your book marketing, book promotion, website, your landing page, whatever it is that you're driving traffic to, for promoting your book and yourself and your business and all the benefits that you want to get, just comment audit on the comment wherever you're watching this video. I know I'm streaming to a few different places today. I think I'm live on my profile. And on the group, oh yes, this is probably going to come crashing down on my head. And on YouTube again. So I guess the entertainment today is maybe the drinking game is every time my lamp falls, you take a shot. Holiday drinking game. Okay, so here's the value, the meat and potatoes to today's conversation and the chat that we're having today is really about, there's a few key elements that I see very often not being taken advantage of. Elements that you have access to and things that you can do to improve your website, so that every time when you send 10 people, if you can only get 10 people to your website for your book every single day through your social media or your advertising or however it is that you get traffic to your website, if you can only get 10 people to your website in a day, what we want is we want to ensure that you're getting as many email addresses and contact information, but at least the email addresses of people who are landing on your website from your publicity and your advertising and posting on social media. We want to get as many of those people giving you their email address every single day. Right now, what happens a lot of the time with so many people's websites, their website is the one place that they're driving all of their traffic to. And for the most part, they're doing the right thing by driving all of their traffic to that one page. It's beneficial for sure that you will get sales, especially at the beginning, especially when you're promoting to family and friends and people who are going to be way more forgiving than people who don't know you, people who've never heard of you before, people who've never seen your book before, or gosh, this is just, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be covering up the camera. I'm really messing this up today. Oh my gosh. So, you know, some days it just doesn't go well. What am I going to do here? Let me see. Let me see. I'm going to try and do something different. Does that work? No. Oh, I think we might get somewhere here. Oh, yeah. This is going to work. Okay, well, it's a little bit better. I mean, it's definitely the smallest, not brightest light. Maybe I'm making it less bright. Let's see. Nope. That's definitely worse. Oh, here, brighter, brighter, brighter. Is this brighter or darker? I think this is brighter. So I feel like I'm getting more blind. Whew. Let's see. Okay. I do feel like my light is going to stick at the very least. Boy, that's a lot of shadow, but whatever. It is dark outside. It's dark in here. Okay, so you can comment while I'm talking if you want me to audit, whether you're watching live or watching the replay. I'm happy to have you watch the replay as well. I wasn't really expecting a whole lot of viewers today because there's so much more you can be doing than sitting and watching a live video that happens, you know, once a week for 15 minutes. Now, today, obviously, I've spent the first 10 minutes fiddling with my lights, so I won't be able to get as far, or it will be longer than 15 minutes. But let me get into it and get started for you now. We're just coming up on the 10-minute mark. So hello, let me start again. Good afternoon. It is Saturday afternoon. We're just coming up on 1:30 on December 26th. And oh my gosh, we've made it through a year, right? What a year it's been. So many things have changed in ways that are unexpected, good and bad. There has been a lot of struggle. Personally, I have been exceptionally lucky that I haven't been more sick than I have been, that I, as far as I know, haven't caught COVID-19. It's what everything that's gone on this year has really shown me how much more I want to be dedicated to running my life intentionally, and really taking full responsibility for the results that I get for my efforts. I get really lucky with a lot of things, and things happen in my life a lot of times. I'll start putting things out there. I'll start working on things, and I really don't work very hard for them before they come through. And honestly, I don't know if that's something that I can do a lot more, if I put a lot more effort in, or if I'm just really lucky. And I should just keep on trying and doing things half-assed, and a lot of things will keep on coming through. But really, the important thing is that I've recognized that this year, it's time for me to start really making some serious moves in my life, and a lot of that includes books and book publishing and book promotion and book marketing, my own books, your books, everybody's book around me. You get a book, and you get a book, and you get a book. So that's the big thing this year. Today's video, the focus is all about your landing page and the value of it, the value that you can get from email marketing and email autoresponders. But the important thing is, I know you have a website. I know you are working to try and get traffic to your website. But I want to suggest that probably the real problem, the real issue with your website is not that you don't have enough traffic. It's not that your website isn't designed well enough, or that you didn't spend enough money or time or energy on it. But it's really that just a few small things that can help improve how your website is giving value to your fans, and therefore to you, through your business, to you through your business. I really don't like this light. It's so bad. I need new lights. If you have good lights for live stream, please let me know. Okay, so let me get into your website. So there's three main things. And this is going to be the focus of this week's conversation in the mastermind community. We'll be doing this on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be deep diving into book promotion landing pages and email opportunities. This is your last opportunity really to join me. To join me for the masterclass that is coming up on January 9th, and also to join me for masterminding on your book authority for the entire year. Oh, this is really unfortunate, right? Let's see. How about this? There we go. There, you've got the whole link there. I swear I am figuring this out and learning how to use StreamYard and Zoom and Facebook Live and probably a new platform, all at once. And yes, here let me see, how do I put it there? Do you see the little penguin on my fingernails? I won't only show you my middle finger. But yeah, I'm excited about that. So, okay, let's get into your website. Three main things. I had someone in this book someone in the book promotion, book production, book publishing, sales, and promotion secrets for authors and entrepreneurs group. I apologize. In that group, I had someone ask me the question if I could review and audit their website, their revised website for them. And I was thrilled to do so. And I was happy to see, but I was also, it spurred me to have this conversation today because I saw the same common oversights that just are completely understandable and most common. And I want to make sure that you're aware of these ways to improve your website so that you're improving your conversion rate, that out of 10 people or out of 100 people, instead of just getting 5 to opt into your email list and losing everybody else who doesn't even buy from you. Instead of having that out of 100, you might have 50 people who opt into your email, and over time, all 50 of those people buy your book and leave you a review and become a raving fan. So I really want to make sure that you have the opportunity to improve your website right away, make changes, and start enjoying the results more instead of struggling. There's, you have the option to be on the easy street or on the struggle bus. And a lot of it is between the years. It's mindset. It's making a decision of it does not have to be a struggle for me to have this accomplishment. I can do it with ease. I can do it quickly and literally easily, and make big differences and start seeing big differences when I'm shifting my focus. So here's what I want you to think about with your websites and improving your landing pages. Immediately, 3 ways that you can do so. The 3 main ways. The very first way, what I want you to do is I want you to have a separate landing page from your primary website URL. So your website URL will be something about your book name, book.com. And then your landing page, when you are making the effort to promote someone, and like you're doing publicity, you're writing articles, you're doing a speech, you're networking in social media communities, all of these things, what you're trying to do is get people to go to your book promotion website. And yes, of course, you want them to buy your book, but you don't mind if they buy your book right away. But the very first thing you want them to do, every single person who lands on your website, is give you their email address. And so what you have to do in order to maximize the absolute number of people who land on your website and give you their email address so that you can then market and promote to them. You can advertise to them on Facebook. You can use Google advertising. You can use direct email marketing to market and sell to them. Once you have their email address, there's so much more value that you can give and provide, and methods of communication, doors that are open, ways that you can remind them of events that are upcoming and promotions that have passed, or publicity that they might have missed. So here's the thing. So you want to have a separate landing page URL. So it would be your website, your bookwebsite.com/ and then the title of the the benefit or whatever it is that you want to call that particular landing page. I would not necessarily call it landing page, but like even if you look at the comment here, this is my landing page. I'm driving you to debbiehorovich.com/relaunch masterclass. I'm not driving you to debbiehorovich.com. And it's really, really important that I'm giving you a specific place to go. And this is a buy sheet. It's not an opt-in page. It's not really a landing page. It's a sales page more than a typical landing page. But the important thing to note is, from a psychological perspective, when people land on your website and they see everything about you and they have multiple pages that they can click on and multiple links that they can do and multiple things that they can consider buying from you and multiple ways they can consider working with you and multiple things to read from you and multiple things to download from you and multiple places, blah, 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 blah. All of that on your website. All of that is really good for Google search engine optimization, and it's important that it's included on your website. It does drive, it is absolutely valuable for Google search engine optimization for bringing organic traffic from Google to your website. But when people come to your website, what are you asking them to do? Is there a clear, direct path? Is there one singular focus for them? Usually not. And so here's what I really want you to consider making some improvements. The first thing is, on your website, on your book name book.com, on that website, on that page, I want you to put in a pop-up that pops up in front of the viewer's eyes within 10 seconds or less. 15 seconds is long even, but 10 seconds or less of them landing on any page on your website, especially the .com. Any page that they land on your website, you have a pop-up that pops up in front of their face. Yes, it's annoying, but it means that they have nothing to do but to either accept what you're offering to them, which is free in exchange for their email, or to click the X and like lose where they were reading, lose the value that they were getting, lose what they were thinking about. You want to really get them on your email list immediately, and then send them back to the page where they were, or send them to a thank you page where you can also promote specific things. Like, depending on the page that they were coming from, you can say, I saw that you landed on this page. You were reading about X, Y, and Z subject matter. I have more content about that in my Facebook group. Here's a link if you'd like to join. And you can also capture email addresses through your Facebook group, which is another great way to fill your autoresponder and email address. So on your landing page, you want to have that pop up. But the other thing is, you must, the biggest, most important thing is have a specific landing page just for email opt-in and email capture, so that you can nurture relationships with people who you're introducing yourself, you're beginning the relationship on Publicity and through advertising and in social media. You really want to be able to nurture those relationships, and by capturing their email address is the most powerful way that you can begin to do that you can begin to leverage the effort that you put in, the investments that you've made to drive people to your website, to your .com, to your specific landing page. So you want to be able to capture as many emails as possible. And from a structural basis, it is, you either need, my recommendation is you need both a pop-up on your website so that, yes, they can go to your website and they can see everything about you. They can click everywhere, but they also are being forced to look at this opportunity to give you their email address in exchange for something else of value to them for free, immediately, digitally, value, something tangible. And then you want to have a second landing page specifically for capturing email addresses. And when I say specifically for capturing email addresses, there is nothing else for a person who lands on that page to consider doing or linking or exploring or reading more about you or thinking or wondering. You put the information there, but you give them absolutely no links. There is nothing to click on. As the minute that they land on the page, high up on the page, you've got a picture of your book or the freebie, and then you've got the email opt-in right now. And then everything below it is for the people who need more sales. Nothing in the info below, the opt-in and image of your book or freebie that you're giving away, nothing else includes any links, because you don't want to give them the opportunity to leave this page without giving you their email address. The only thing that they can do is leave the page and leave forever. Or they can leave the page, they can give you their email address and leave the page and then go back to exploring and explore all their way through your website, which is actually what you do want them to do, is give you their email address immediately and then explore through and perhaps even buy on the very first visit, which would be ideal, but most of the time it doesn't happen. It won't happen most of the time that way. So knowing that and planning for that, preparing for that will help you have better success with your website. The second point number 2, is you do want to, be, especially on the landing page, everything about the landing page is visuals. It's trust triggers. Trust triggers is a term that Derek Halpern of, his website, I think, is called Social Triggers. But he introduced me to this term of trust triggers. It's a psychological term that from in an instant when people look at what you have to offer them, there are certain cues that tell them that you know what you're talking about, that you are an expert, that you are an authority, that you are worth listening to, that you're worth paying to have speak, that you're worth taking time out of their day to listen to even. All of these things. And what these trust triggers are, they're any little thing that at an instant, at a glance, without any consciousness of it, they land on your page and they go, oh yes, here's my email address. Done. Not even a consideration. I am so impressed. You definitely know what you're talking about. I need more. What I have seen so far, I like it. I want to see more. And you want them thinking that so that they'll just give you their email address. And what it is, those trust trigger elements are things like showing the logos of the retail sites where your websites, showing the logos of the retail websites where your book is for sale. Amazon, Apple Books, Google Playbooks, Barnes and Noble, Hudson Booksellers, all of the retail stores, all of the retail bookstores that carry books, where your book might be, where your book is. You don't want to be using these logos if you're not actually for sale on these platforms, because then it's false advertising, and all sorts of problems can come from using brand logos when you don't actually have the right to use them. What makes you have the right to use brand logos is the fact that you are actually for sale. Your product is for sale on that retail channel. Then you can use the logo of Amazon. Amazon provides logos that say available on Amazon.com with their logo so that you can use that on your website. The same goes for media channels where you have had any publicity or exposure. So if you've been able to send out press releases and had your announcement shared across a syndicated network that is syndicating to ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Business Insider, and all sorts of other affiliate news networks across the United States and Canada, if you have sent out your press release on a syndicated network like that, then all of those logos are legitimate and effective for you to use for your authority on your website. So if you've had publicity, if you've had exposure, and when you start getting interviews and exposure and doing thought leadership article writing for other media channels like Mind Body Green and She Owns It and At 45. There's a whole list of media channels where you can write and be driving traffic to your website, to your landing pages. When you are actively contributing content to those media channels, or even just have, one little tiny mention in those media channels, you can use that media logo on your landing pages to build authority. It is a trust trigger. I have had now, at this point, I've had a couple of times where I've been mentioned in Inc.com. But I will tell you, the very first time that I had a mention in Inc.com, it was not positive. It wasn't positive in any way, but here's the thing is that I just didn't bother linking to it. I used the logo on my website to build authority and to build trust with prospective clients. And I did have some very positive exposure on Harvard Business Review and on Forbes. And so I was using all of those logos, and Inc. contributed to my clients, my prospects becoming my clients because they trust me. Because when they look at and they see your business, your message, your book, your products and services are being endorsed, are being supported by media channels that they trust, that they recognize, then that gives you authority as well. And that gives you trust. And if you're offering something for free in exchange for their email address, with that trust along with it, because they very often will not give you their email address for something free if you haven't built their trust, if you don't have these extra trust triggers. The other one is your bestseller logo. If you have achieved Amazon bestseller status, put the bestseller logo on the 3D mock-ups of your book on your website. Let everyone know that your book is a bestseller. Make sure that they have the badge. You can get Amazon bestseller badges that are #1 badges, that are Amazon bestseller badges, that are international bestseller badges. And these are images that you can use on your website. Once you have achieved that exposure, that accomplishment, that title, legitimately, you can use them on your website to help people understand at a glance other organizations that are sharing your message, and that will give them more trust. Okay, and the last point, I just needed to review my notes really quickly. The last point, make sure I'm making 3 points in some sort of order that makes sense. The last point really is to make sure that even if you have, you feel like your website is is pretty good at all of these things, that you're promoting opt-in of the email. A lot of times people will still have the opt-in box for their email list way down at the bottom of the page. And it's probably one of the very first things, I would say not the most important thing, but one of the very first things you can do is make sure that that opt-in box is perpetually available at the top of the page above the fold, so that everyone who lands on the page sees it. Not only the people who scroll all the way down through your website, because most people are not going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and then, give you their email address to sign up for your newsletter, because they don't care. Your newsletter is not that interesting. They want something tangible that you're going to give them for free in exchange for their email that is valuable, that they can use immediately, that they can get joy or entertainment or information that they want right away, so that you can help them. Oh, hold on. Great question. Thank you, Gloria. So Gloria says, how would I trust you? How would I trust you knowing you did not have a good review on Inc., but led people to believe you achieved a good accomplishment? For me, that's out of integrity and less trust. It's often why I don't believe all this stuff when I see it on websites. I wish people would be honest. I get there are opportunities, but I prefer honesty. Honestly, yes. I don't really disagree with you fully. I apologize for kind of flip-flopping. I'm trying not to flip-flop. But the honest truth is I did have exposure on Inc. Now, I have had positive exposure on Inc. since then, and I still don't use the links. So it doesn't matter. Like, even the positive exposure, it was so long ago, and it so is not relevant in any way, shape, or form to what I'm doing. So why would I, when I have control over promoting what I'm promoting, right? Like, I'm going to promote what is good about what I do. I'm going to promote what is good about my book. I'm going to promote what I know is good about my book. If someone misinterprets what I say and writes about me in a negative way, my option would be, so I could have completely ignored it. Said all the time and effort and nervousness and energy that I put into speaking to that reporter, and the interaction that was really kind of gross that went on between the reporter and myself, and then how he wrote about me in the article afterwards. I could have really just said, you know what, I'm never going to talk about that again. I'm going to put that in, like I tried something and I'm more embarrassed to show it, and so I don't want to. I understand. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Gloria is saying it still does not give you confidence, and that's okay. Let me continue explaining. And I might give you confidence or I might not, but other people who are watching might have confidence and understand. But so my choice was to say nothing about it at all, or to put the link out there and say, I was interviewed by a reporter for an article on Inc. And he was kind of an asshole, and he himself was really not transparent. Like, he really, my gut was telling me not to talk to him. And he was not being, he was setting off all my warning bells in my guts, the way that he approached me. And so I had to make some changes to our plans. And the way that he responded to that was to not interview me bad press can be good exposure. And that's what it comes down to, was like, I still had to make the decision. So I had gone through all of the steps, and there's so much effort that you put into getting publicity that even bad publicity, which you can't control, like you put effort into getting publicity, and what happens is you can't control when the publicity comes out. You can't control whether the publicity is good or bad. You can't control whether you actually drive people from that publicity exposure over to your website. All we can do is try and improve. And so I was trying. And I was super excited to have an opportunity to have a reporter who was writing an article for Inc. about a particular website that I was using, and that I was happy to talk to Inc. and be mentioned for my business in it. And I was so disappointed when what he said in the article, it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it would have been bad if I was trying to send people to it and people were looking at it and going, that's not good. Right? Like, it wasn't bad, but it also wasn't good. And so the best way for me to leverage the situation, which I couldn't control, was to say, okay, I've had this exposure in Inc. And so at the very least, I'm still going to take some leverage and some value from it, and get some value from it. And so that's what I did, along with the other positive publicity that I've had in other places. It wasn't exposing me as anything bad. The way that it was negative was, he said, it was to talk about a website that was competing, a video platform that was competing with Google Plus Hangouts on Air. And I was using this new website video platform that Google Plus Hangouts on Air was competing with. And I was also using this new platform and giving them feedback as they were building it out. And so they had sent the Inc. reporter to me. And so I wanted to give them some good publicity and get some great exposure for myself and establish a stronger relationship with the website that had sent the reporter to me. I wanted to do everything I could. And of course I wanted exposure on Inc. And I got it. But what he said in the article, he wrote the whole article, and he had interviewed a number of people. He ended up saying, I reached out to Debbie Horovich for comment, but she was not available at the time of our interview. Which, sort of available, sort of not available. I had asked him who he was, where he was calling from, and could we have some sort of connection? Like, could we book it either ahead of time so that we can schedule some things so that I can at least have some preparation, or book it through the platform that we're talking about. And he refused to book it through the platform that we were talking about, which I didn't understand, because he did book other sessions with other professionals through that platform. That's, doesn't bother me one way or the other, but what he had to say wasn't all that great, right? It wasn't positive. It would have been negative. It would not have been positive if I had been driving people to it. But marginally, it helps. It helps. It's a trust trigger. And it is a legitimate trust trigger. Yes, the vast majority of my trust triggers are all good. There are many links that I put out there. I just don't put them on the focus landing pages. I do have media pages where you can click through every single link. You can watch all the videos of all my speeches. Usually when I get hired or travel to speak, I'll bring that video back and put it up on my YouTube, and then promote it there. But the thing is, like, you can use logos if you are speaking at conferences, if you're speaking at events, you can use those logos, whether or not it's directly related to the audience that you have, for that specific for that specific landing page, for that specific offer. You do want, as much as possible, you still want the media channel, the logo, the media channel itself to be an authority trigger for the audience when you use it, but they're fairly flexible. Moving on, was that the last one? That was the last one, yes. And then I saw Gloria's comments. So thank you very much for your comments and for engaging, Gloria. I really do appreciate it. Appreciate you watching and logging in and taking me to task and making me explain, because it is, there's a lot to consider. There is always, when you're a book author, I mean, I don't know, Gloria, if you're a book author, if you've published yet, or if you're just working on a book, or if you're not a book author at all, if you're just someone who's watching through my profile and curious about what I'm doing and curious about the process. It's one of those things that as you become a book author, as you become as you can see that you're investing time and money and energy and effort into developing exposure for your message and for yourself and for your business, you will sometimes have these situations where you're like, oh, that did not turn out how I expected. What do I do? How do I put a spin on this so that it's not a raging dumpster fire like 2020 was? Like 2020 just kept on getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Really, I think until the end of the year, until early November, when, you know, finally something went our way. So it's a very, very interesting year. But the thing, publicity is a lot like that. You're going to learn about yourself and about your audience from every opportunity and every exposure. And that is really why these landing pages are so important, and why I want to encourage you, if you are watching, if you've watched through this whole video, my conversation with Gloria Coppola, about using trust triggers and what trust triggers you can use on your websites. You're not going to buy someone's program or not based on just seeing the logo on their website. But you might, or not so much you, but your audience is much more likely to give you their email address when you do use the media logos, the trust triggers of the media channels where you have exposure, of the sponsors who are supporting you, the sponsor organizations who are supporting what you're doing, and of the retail channels where your book is for sale. And I was saying at the beginning of this video as well, Gloria, I was saying that you do actually have to have media exposure on the media channel. If you're using it when you don't have media exposure, that is completely out of integrity and completely worth losing everyone's trust. And the fact of the matter is, yes, it's 100% true. Anyone can use these logos without any integrity, and they're scam artists, right? They're just because you can use these logos doesn't mean that you should. And so, you know, I've made my decisions. I'm okay with my decisions. It wasn't all that long that one ink mention was the only ink mention that I had. And it wasn't very long after, it was only a couple of months later where I was mentioned in another article, which was very positive. And so, you know, why would I regret what I did? It doesn't, I don't think it harmed anyone. I don't think anyone bought from me on the belief that ink was saying they should buy from me. But you know, that's how promoting your book and publicity on your own as an indie author goes. You have to make these decisions, and you have to have these conversations about trust and integrity and transparency. And so honesty is one of the strongest characteristic traits that I appreciate in other people, that I strive for in myself. I think all sorts of things. I grew up a liar. I was a liar my whole life, because I could never actually tell people what was important to me or what was bothering me or what I thought about anything, because I wasn't raised that way. I wasn't raised to actually have opinions that I could put out there. And so I definitely learn from these sorts of conversations. So I hope you do as well. I hope you get value, even when I come on sometimes and ramble like I did today. The first 15 minutes of this video were all tech troubles and lights falling on my head. But, I appreciate people giving me their comments and what they think. Yeah. Thank you so much. If you're watching on my profile, on my YouTube video, on my page, my Fairy Godmother book publishing page, if you're watching there and you haven't yet joined my free group, Book Publishing Sales and Promotion Secrets for Authors and Entrepreneurs, it is a free group. I have some really great freebies, some great value in the group, including my book launch publicity playbook, which you can actually have me customize for you for free. So it's a full step-by-step Trello board that shows you my approach to book marketing and promotions, gives you that top line, and you can, Trello boards are cool because you can move cards around and customize them for yourself. And then you can have me customize the plan for you if you answer a series of questions, which are in the book launch publicity playbook. So if you haven't gotten that yet, if you are working on your book, if you're working on exposure, if you're maybe Gloria, like I said, I don't know if you have written a book or not yet, but if you're a professional and you're trying to promote your message and you're thinking that a book might be a good way to do it, I want to encourage you to join that free group, Book Publishing Sales and Promotion Secrets for Authors and Entrepreneurs. And if you want to take more of a detailed deep dive into getting your website, landing pages, and email sequence all set up, I'm going to be doing that deep dive in my mastermind community on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So you still have time to join the mastermind community before we do that live. Or if you join later, you can go back and see that video later and get the training and downloads and swipe files and everything else that I'll have for you there. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great Saturday, great December 26th, 2020.